So now that we have covered polynomials and their zeros and their behaviors, our next move in Chapter 5 is to take a look at what are famously known as rational functions. Basically, by definition, a rational function is a fraction where the numerator and the denominator are both polynomials. And so a lot of our zero work with polynomials is going to pay off because it turns out that zeros up in the numerator and zeros down the denominator tell us some special things about our rational function. So we'll be able to use all that work along with the lead coefficients and their multiplicities. Everything will have a role as we divide a polynomial divided by a polynomial. So there's the definition. And the first thing that we see that we have to worry about with regards to these, even though a polynomial itself has a domain that's infinite, because we're dividing by a polynomial, we've got a red flag, right? One of our red flags is division by zero, and so we have to account for that. And so the domain for these rational functions will be impacted. And so recall what we did is essentially find out when does that bottom equal to zero. So essentially we're finding the zeros of the polynomial down below. This one's pretty easy, it's -3. So we're talking about everything to the left of -3 union everything to the right. Okay, so there would be the domain for the first one. The second one, again, what are the zeros for the denominator? And if we solve, do a quick division, right, we subtracted 4, we end up getting x equals -2. So for this one, right, we're everything to the left of -2 and everything to the right of it in terms of an interval. Okay. For the next one, again, we're just essentially finding zeros down to the denominator, right? Division by 0. So x squared minus 25. A couple of ways we can approach this. How about I use the square root property? And when I do that, we get plus or minus 5. Here, since there's 2, perhaps I'll draw a little number line. We're throwing -5 out, and we're throwing 5 out. So we got this interval over here. We've got the interval in between, right, this guy. And then we have the interval greater than 5. So there would be our domain for that particular function that we're given there. And then last but not least, right, what are the divisions by 0 here? Well, again, we're solving our zeros there. And again, just to kind of run the gamut, how do we solve something like that? We can factor, and in this case, we get x minus 2 twice, right? And so basically, using the zero factor property, we get x equals 2. So the domain for this one is everything to the left of 2 and everything to the right. All right, so in the next, for this week, 5.4 and 5.5, our concentration again is going to be on rational expressions. Again, right off the bat, one of the things we need to worry about is the red flag of division by 0 has an impact on the domain. There's so many other things going on, and a lot of moving parts, so a lot of videos and a lot of explanation coming soon as we break down a rational function and features of its graph and behaviors. See you guys in the next video coming soon.